Good afternoon. I'll be doing my project on the movie Tron Legacy. Some of the main characters, the good guys, are Sam, Kevin, and Cora. Kevin is the father of Sam, and Kevin left Sam over 20 years ago. Then you got two bad guys, Clue and Tron. Clue's the main character, the main bad guy. So you got Sam, Kevin, and Cora. And you got Clue and Tron. The objectives are going to be listening skills between Sam and Alan, cultures that make up the grid, how verbal messages are expressed between the characters, characters expressing nonverbal messages, impersonal conflict, and impersonal relationships. So the first objective, listen scenes between Alan and Sam. Alan is on the board of Sam's company, which used to be his father's company, until he left, disappeared over 20 years ago. So Alan is trying to express to Sam a message that he got, and Alan's making eye contact with Sam. His body posture is, looking directly at Sam and trying to interact with Sam. Sam, on the other hand, seems to be uninterested and begins by reading a magazine. Sam's style of listening is that apprehensive. Sam is only listening to what he wants to hear. Sam's mind is wandering, he's distracted by a book. He's looking at a book. He's not really listening to Alan, And he states that. He's like, are we going to do this again? Alan has come to Sam's place many of times in the past, I'm sure, explaining, or telling Sam why is he throwing his life away? So Sam's not listening until the pager is brought up. The pager hasn't been used in 20 years. It was used by Kevin, his father. So at that point, Sam starts to be a little more attentive. His style listening is comprehensive, the conversation is more interactive. There's more eye contact. There's more listening. Sam is starting to remember what's being said. In the clip, you can see how Sam changes his body posture and drops the book. He's more interested in the verbal conversation, in the what's being said. Sam does have some listening barriers, both internal and external. Internal, Sam's angry with his father. He can't believe his father left him over 20 years ago. He's angry. He thinks his father is on some island and gave up his son. And that internal noise is making Sam unable to understand the true message that Alan is trying to tell him. Your father has sent me a message. Your father's alive. External barriers, he's being distracted by the magazine. He's reading the magazine while Alan's trying to talk with him. Sam's not listening. In order to get past that, he needs to get rid of both the internal and external noise. The cultures of Tron. Culture is defined as characteristics, knowledge of a particular group of people, defined by everything from language, religion, cuisine, social habits, music, and arts. Dominant culture in Tron is within the grid. It's the programs, that cause conflict in this movie. These programs were created by Kevin. Some of Kevin's persona is included in these programs. They look and act just like humans. But they're not. They're totally different culture. They're the indigenous people, the normative in this world, and they have a low context culture. These programs share the same values and goals. They need to survive and they need to play the games. And the person that controls these programs is Clue. Clue is pretty much the dictator in this world, and these behaviors are governed by rules. And they're clearly stated. And Clue, if you do something wrong, you're either terminated or you're thrown into the games. And ultimately, you're terminated in the games. So that culture is very dominant. There's no other culture there. They're destroyed. And this other culture I'm talking about is Cora's culture. She is different from the dominant culture. She is created within the system by something other than Kevin and Clue. They don't know what created her. She had her own culture, her own people, until Clue destroyed them all. He believed that they were a plague. So he had to get rid of them all. And you can compare Clue to Hitler, Hitler wanted a perfect system, perfect world. And those that didn't belong were destroyed, just like in these cultures, Clue wanted the perfect world and destroyed what didn't belong. This next scene is verbal communication. Sam meets Clue for the first time, but believes that it's his father. And Clue capitalizes on that from the very beginning. Clue acts like Sam's father, There's informal language, casual conversation. Clue says, "Hey, I see you got my message." Clue is trying to put a spin on it to deceive Sam. Clue has a specific agenda. He needs something out of Sam. And this informal language is trying to help Clue get that message, get that information. He wants Sam to be comfortable around him. Sam doesn't ask too many questions. He's confused. His language is more formal, more clear and concise. He asks straight to the point, a couple questions, but Clue is still walking around those questions, not really answering them. And Sam doesn't realize until the end of the scene that Clue was trying to act like his father. Next objective, nonverbal communication occurs when Sam, Kevin, and Cora are at the dinner table. Sam and Kevin are sitting at opposite ends of the table, and Cora, the third wheel, is sitting in the middle. Sam and Kevin haven't seen each other in 20 years, father, son. But in this scene, there's no connection between Kevin and Sam. There's no father-son. Kevin gradually makes eye contact with Sam, but Sam doesn't return that. There's no interaction. Sam is more interested in the string bean and how that tastes. Sam is more curious. His facial expressions is of curious, until he eats the string bean, and then he's happy. He smiles year to year, and then he begins eating. And then you got Cora, who's sitting in the middle, and she's more interactive, non-verbally, than the other two. Cora is staring intently at Sam. She's more interested, more fond of him. Her body is closer to Sam. She's leaning in, making eye contact, trying to get Sam involved in conversation. And throughout this dinner, there's only small talk. There's nothing deep, nothing to connect these two. And there's eye contact, but Kevin keeps putting his hands in front of his face, in front of his mouth. There's awkward silence. Cora's in the middle of it. It's the way she's sitting there, the awkwardness of her sitting there. You can tell that, it's like this ain't a father-son conversation. It's just two different people. This scene is taking place on an elevator with Sam and Kevin. This is the interpersonal conflict. A conflict takes place between two individuals in respect to values and attitudes. Kevin is mad at Sam because Kevin had to leave his house where he was saved to go save Sam and Cora. Cora's hurt, and Sam apologizes, says, "I can fix this. I can fix this." And Kevin, very upset, turns around and says, "You've done enough already," yells at his son. And this is the first time you kind of see father-son interaction. There's a conflict. There's the four factors. Sam and Kevin are they're interdependent on each other. Sam needs Kevin to get out. Kevin needs Sam to save Cora himself at this point. You know, they blame each other for what happened. You know, they wouldn't be in that situation if Sam did what he was told by his father. And Sam believes, we wouldn't be here if you listened to me from the beginning. And both Sam and Kevin are emotionally upset with each other, with the situation, with the fact that Cora got hurt. It's just emotional mess. And then, their behaviors affect their relationship. Their relationship is a mess. It's not father-son. Sam is trying to make it father and son. But it's just not happening. Sam's placating towards his father. Sam is taking the blame. He's trying to avoid the conflict. You can tell that Sam is holding some of his anger in because he knows he was wrong. And he's trying to do good by his father, and he just screwed up totally. The final objective is interpersonal relationship between Kevin and Clue. Kevin created Clue. Kevin created Clue to create this perfect world in the grid, in this computer world. And it's as if Kevin and Clue are father and son. They're more father and son than Kevin and Sam. Kevin and Clue had a common goal and objective. They had a sense of trust between each other. They were working together on the same team for the same outcome. Perfect world. They're one and the same. Kevin has a lot of him in Clue. So in this scene, Kevin and Clue finally see each other after so many years. Clue's standing there with confidence, directly looking at Kevin. He believes he's won. And he says to Kevin, the cycles haven't been kind, have they? And just showing that, you're getting old, I'm not. And, they're trying to make small talk. It feels as if, the son is talking to his father. Clue's talking loud, he's direct, it's more passive-aggressive. Where Kevin, he's controlling his emotions. He's steady and calm voice. His communication style is more of a relationship than anything else. He's taking blame. Kevin's placating towards Clue, taking responsibility for what has happened in the grid. It's my fault you're the way you are, Clue. And Kevin is still trying to keep Clue calm, empathetic towards Clue. It's not his fault. Throughout the interaction, Clue is raising his arms and hands and very upset, starting to become more and more aggressive, and Kevin doesn't want that. Kevin wants to keep him calm, keep him from going over the edge. They're like a more, oil and vinegar at this point. They're not going to be able to mix. Something's going to happen. And it's going to be Clue that causes it. But towards the end of the scene, you can see that Kevin opens up his arms as if he wants to hug Clue and tell him he's sorry. So my evaluation of communication is that it's a process that's not solely based on just speaking words, but how they're presented and the context in which they are said. There's many words, and one word can mean something different in some other culture. There's so many meanings to words, so many different cultures that it's complex. Communication is very complex.